saying that on the
I
podcast.
I'm not sure I can remember.
You're still in my phone as Gilly One Eye.
Am I?
It's because the first night in Aberystwyth when we went out, I think I was giving you a tour of the town and the bars, and you said, I said, look, that's that over there. And she said, yeah, I can see that with one eye. And you kind of shut one eye. It's the funniest thing. And you became Gilly One Eye. So that's you done for the next 20 years.
25 years or something ridiculous. Oh, I did. Yeah, whatever. Call me whatever you want.
Was it 2001?
I can't remember that. When was that? I was 21. Yeah, so 2001. Because we were older, weren't we? Oh, no. No, maybe I was 22. Because you and I were the older ones by...
I might have been 2020.
Kai and Sarah.
Because I'd come back after stopping.
Yeah, you had your shit going on, didn't you?
Failed the Marines, came back, and...
Did I know that?
In different... I'm sure you did.
You just had a medical thing. What was it? Throat thing. Didn't you have...
Don't think so.
What's that? Like the shirt?
Should we have to do like a formal intro?
Who likes a formal intro?
I don't know. Well,
nobody likes a formal intro.
No. So, we're joined today by Gillian Davis, former TV broadcaster and weather presenter. Is that correct?
Yes.
And director of Conteur PR communications company.
Supposedly.
The last 15 years, is it?
Yeah, nearly. Well, yeah, depending on who you talk to. We're coming up officially to 14 years.
Okay.
But longer than that, really.
Yeah.
Before it became an actual company.
Actual thing.
Yeah.
And good friend of mine from university.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Enough of that for now. We might go into that in a bit.
Dangerous territory.
We were at university, we were a bit older.
Yeah.
Take me back to what
Why was I there older?
Yeah.
So ultimately, because I grew up on Dartmoor in a tiny little village, which I loved. And I thought, I know, it'll be a really good idea. Let's get out of here and go to London, go to the big city. So I went from a wonderful secondary school and tiny primary school in Dartmoor to London, Tottenham in London. I lived on White Hart Lane.
What?
And I hated it. I hated every single second of it.
Oh, wow.
And then actually there was a moment of, do you remember the case of that horrendous case? And it really shook me, and it was the moment that made me realise I needed to leave and get out. Of Victoria Klimbay. She was a little girl, can't remember how old she was, and she'd been sent over to the UK to live with, I think it was her aunt. I have to fact check this is going back in my memory. And they kept her in a bath with a bin bag taped around her neck, and ultimately she died. And we walked past her window, the bathroom of her window, when we came back from nights out, laughing, giggling. And the idea that she would have heard us happy and laughing and giggling really shook me. And the fact that there were people around who would do such horrendous things.
Yes.
And it was too much. I think it was too much of a shift in. I'd come from this amazing little town to London, where these horrendous. I know horrendous things can happen in little towns, but it was awful. And I took it as a marker, and I left and went to America to be a lifeguard, which was amazing.
Whereabouts in America? What was
Florida.
That? Florida.
Where I got bitten by a poisonous snake.
Okay.
I still have the evidence on my knee. I won't show you now because I've got a long skirt on in it. And, see other things as well.
What kind of... I had no idea about that.
What, the snake or the London thing?
No, going to America and
yeah.
being a lifeguard.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Met one of my very best friends over there.
Yeah.
And we're still friends to this day. She lives in South Africa. And it was incredible. It was everything I needed, having been to London and it being horrendous. It was a complete break from everything. And it sounds awful, doesn't it? Nothing horrendous personally happened to
No.
me. But I just couldn't get on with London. I couldn't get on with things that happen in London.
It's a different kind of culture there, isn't it? Because you go from a village where everyone knows each other and says hello and smiles to somewhere where there's millions of people all trying to get on with life and concentrating on other things, and no one talks to each other.
And that's not me. And I think what happened was, I also think, say I'm unlucky. I was, nowhere near as unlucky as the poor little girl kept in that bathtub, but it was too close to home. The fact that I can still see her window now after it all came out, and the police cordons around it. I can still see the window where she was kept as a tiny little girl. And it was too much for my 19-year-old brain, I think, at the time to cope with. And that was it. It was, it was, probably wasn't enjoying it.
It's just like the final, nail in that.
That's it. And I knew that I didn't want to leave education. I knew I wanted to do something more. But I just know I needed to change where it was, and went to the Aberystwyth, which is a campus-based university, obviously much smaller town, much more like Tavistock, where I'm from, right on the coast. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was an entirely different experience that, I enjoyed much more, and met some,
interesting characters.
Very interesting characters.
Well, so when you were in America, were you looking then to go back to education, or?
I think so. It was very initially. No, I don't think so. Initially, I almost needed a snap back to reality and a snap back to who I was as a person and my values and what was important to me.
Yeah.
And that did that. When you, it was almost like going into a few months of a flow state. I was looking after, they trained me to be a lifeguard on this lake in Florida where they had alligators who basically like Labradors. No, they're amazing. They'll only bite you if they're hungry. And we used to shoo these alligators off the pontoon every day. It was brilliant. It was amazing, but it was so far removed from the reality I'd been living from the last year that it was everything I needed accidentally. And then it made me realise while I was out there that actually, I do want to continue, and I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be a journalist. And this kind of what happened at uni in London almost shifted my focus away from that, and America helped me rezone and get back to where I wanted to go.
What was it about journalism that you wanted to?
People. For me, it's always been people. I've always loved people. I've always loved hearing people's story. I was just telling you, I won't say who the client is, but I was just telling you about a particular client who is wonderful on paper, very dull. I remember thinking, Jesus, how are we going to get something out of this? But it's the people that makes it fascinating, and it's people's fascination and geekiness about the product, about the subject matter that fascinates me. I have a huge fascination in what fascinates other people. Like if something really interests you, instantly I'm interested, and I wonder, well, why? What is it about that? And 9 times out of 10, you can really zone in, and all of a sudden you're interested as well. And it's so for me, it's always been about people. I remember when I was about do you remember CFAX? Who does? I mean, youngsters don't remember CFAX, but I put the subtitles on CFAX as the newsreaders were reading the news when I was I remember like being 9 and doing this and reading along to it. And I do it every single day, and I was fascinated by it. And I still do it now. And if the radio's on and the newsreader's on, I'll read like just behind the newsreader to keep up my skills. And from there, a fascination with the weather as well. I've always had a fascination with the weather. I love nature. I love natural beauty. So the weather kind of comes into that.
So you had that in mind, but you did law at uni, from memory.
Yes, I did.
So, how come? What was that choice?
That was a pivotal moment, actually, that you've harnessed and that I talk about a lot. Especially, I know, for chatting about this, one of the questions was, what have I mentored people, and what do I mentor? And and this is one of the things that it had such a pivotal moment in my life, like a sliding doors moment that I tell everybody about, especially young people who are looking to go to uni or thinking about uni or career path. If they're thinking, I go into schools and I mock interview kids who are looking to be journalists or looking to go into communications. But back in the day where you could apply to go, look, my daughter's on work experience at the moment, and it was a big deal. You know, there was risk assessments to be done. There's all sorts of things. You have to, you know, apply. Lots of people want in. You can't just go in anymore and have a random week of work experience. So back in the day, you could just do that. And because I knew, and I'd known from a really early age that I wanted to be a journalist, I applied to everywhere. So from about the age of 15, 16, I was going up to London on work experience. I did Channel 5, Channel 4, ITV, ITN. I did production companies. I did radio stations. And I was on a 5-day work experience placement. I remember the letter with the letterhead coming through to tell me I'd got it to this, because obviously it wasn't on email. I had a box where I used to write like up to 50 letters at a time and just randomly send them off to production companies. And from those, I'd maybe get 5 or 6 replies to say yes, which was amazing. Anyway, so one of them was with ITN. Off I go up to London to do work experience at ITN. And Katie Derham, who was their arts correspondent at the time, kind of took me under her wing and was wonderful. And they were all incredible. And I got to go out on shoots with cameramen. I met Judi Dench that week, managed to ask her a couple of questions at a film night. So it was an incredible experience. But I was sitting at the news desk one day and I looked up and I happened to catch the eye of Sir Trevor MacDonald, who...
Big Trev.
What really upsets me now is when I tell this story to younger people, they're like,
no, who's that?
Like, oh my God, if you want to be a journalist, go and find out who this person is, because he's amazing.
Look him up.
Look him up, he's an icon. Anyway, and he then came over to me and he sat down opposite and he made the effort to have this amazing man who's really busy to come and have a conversation with a work experience girl. Incredible. Nicest guy in the world. And he was asking me what should I want to do. And my plan was set. I knew I wanted to be a journalist. I knew where I was going. I was going to Bournemouth University to do broadcast journalism degree, which at the time was the degree to do. That was everything I was working towards. There was no manoeuvring away from that. Okay. That's what I was going to do. And anyway, we had the chat and he nodded along really nicely, as you can imagine. You know, he was taking everything in. I was doing the talking. He was asking the questions. And he, at the end of it, he said, would you mind if I give you a bit of advice? And I was kind of thought, you're Sir Trevor MacDonald, you can do anything you like, absolutely, give me all the advice in the world. And he said, go away and do any degree other than journalism. He said, we can teach you a lot of what you need to know over the course of about 3 months. You come in, immerse yourself in the newsroom. We will teach you the art. You're clearly very, what did he say? Curious. You've got curiosity. You clearly like, you know, you're here. You've got this far. We can teach you the rest. He said, go away and bring us something that's going to be valuable to us. Go away and do history, do geography, do law. It doesn't really matter, but do something that's going to be valuable to us. And it was like a light bulb moment, and my entire thinking shifted, because it's so obvious, isn't it? It's so obvious. There are so many people that want to be journalists. If I'm going in as the same as everybody else, how am I different? How am I standing out from the crowd? So that was it. When I was in London, I did American Studies with International Relations and Politics. Did that for a year. I did enjoy it. But then it was, I remember what Sir Trevor had told me, and law was the only option, and I loved it. It was amazing. It was really good. And that's fine. That was my sliding doors moment, and helped me ultimately work at ITV many years later. Yeah. Via a few radio gigs, which was also a lot of fun.
Okay, so went to university, met some amazing people.
Amazing.
And I remember then just you being kind of involved in TV straight away. Or
what did I do?
Well, it's a long time ago now. My memory's a little bit kind of hazy.
I was doing work experience on and off, probably throughout that point. When I finished university, I actually left and we did a transatlantic sailing race.
Yeah.
So that was immediately after.
I'd
and I did
forgotten about
till
that.
Christmas.
So what does that involve? Let's talk about that, 'cause
That
that sounded
involves
amazing.
getting on a yacht with, we were a crew of 7, I think. A Norwegian rectal surgeon was one of them, very handy.
Interesting conversations around.
He was wonderful. He was wonderful. He's an amazing man. Lives in Tromsø, right at the very top end of Norway. Very renowned in his field. Incredible guy. And we sailed across the Atlantic, and you're not allowed to use any. You're not allowed to motor at any point unless it's an emergency. And we came third in our class, and it was a fantastic experience. Absolutely brilliant.
How long did that take then?
Took us 19 days.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too bad. And then we were in we landed in St. Lucia, and we were there for maybe 3 months or so. It was tough.
Amazing.
It was a tough time in my life.
I remember you. I saw some posts on Facebook or something like that, and I thought, this is
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That was all kind of just taking off, the Facebook stuff. And I often look back and think, would I have absorbed how amazing the experience was if social media was as prevalent as it is now? Because I would go to the bow and sit with the waves licking at my feet as we're sailing along with a book. And every night I'd go and watch the sunset. And we were up for watch every night. Everybody had to take turns at watch. And I know for a fact that had I been a 21-year-old in this day and age, I'd have been on the... would we have got Wi-Fi in the middle of the Atlantic? Probably not. But I'd have been... I'd have at least been documenting it in some way for social media. And it wasn't an option at the time.
Was it choppy at all? Big
In
waves?
places it was. In fact, when we took the boat, when we were sailing the boat down to the Canary Islands, where the race starts, we came across the Bay of Biscay, and we came across the Bay of Biscay accidentally in a gale force 9 storm, which nearly sunk the boat. We nearly lost our mast. We lost a split pin. Had we been heeling to the other side, we'd have lost the mast, and we'd have been bobbing around like a cork in the Bay of Biscay. So that was an experience. That to say that was choppy would have been an understatement. I'll never forget it. It was
what your report would have been about that.
I know. Can you imagine? Bit windy.
It's a bit windy today, a bit choppy.
Bit windy, bit of rain.
Recommend you stay on dry land.
Yeah, it was amazing though. Incredible experience.
So you spent a good few months doing that.
Dossing around, basically, having a great time. Yeah, I know. It was
and
great.
then, what was the first kind of break? Let's fast forward it a little bit. Like a little kind of thing where you thought, actually, I'm doing what I want to be doing now.
When we were in St. Lucia, my husband-to-be, who I was with, we weren't even engaged at the time. He really wanted to stay. And he had an opportunity with the Premier of St. Lucia. We managed to get in front of him. And there was a job opportunity. And I remember at the time thinking, I'm off course here. I'm off. It sounds as a bit of a sailing analogy. But, I had my compass was set in my head. I knew where I wanted to go. It's a bit puke-inducing. My compass was set, but it was. I knew the direction of travel for me. And I remember saying to David, it's an amazing opportunity. If you want to do it, you should do it. But I have to go home. We've done the sailing. We've been in St. Lucia for a few months. It'd been incredible. But I felt this, a lot of women saying, don't get me wrong, I did have the biological ticking clock thing later on down the line. But I had this clock in my head ticking, knowing that... What was I then? I must have been, I think I was about 24 by then.
Right.
And I remember thinking, I need to focus now. I've done the uni thing. I've done the America thing. I'd had a season in Newquay surfing and working in a bar and drinking far too much. I'd had a lot of fun. And I remember thinking, now I need to knuckle down and focus. It's now or never. And I went back and I got a temp job for the NHS as I applied for every job going. And my my big break came in local radio for Gemini Radio
Right.
down in Exeter, which was wonderful because I'm a Devon girl and it's the best place to live in the world. And it was a grueling interview process. I met some incredible people, and I was offered one of the jobs as a breakfast news presenter and reporter. That's my very first job. I had my own patch, and my first day was probably one of the most daunting days of my entire life. And I remember thinking, what the hell have I done? Is this really for me? But I loved it. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun. We worked hard. We played hard. And from there, I got promoted. I was actually, my first patch was Torbay. And then I worked over in Exeter. And then because my husband-to-be was living up in Worcestershire, an opportunity came up there. And I went to Worcestershire. I was there for about 6 months before I got a job on the current affairs team at ITV in Bristol. And it was only a 3-month contract.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, what are you doing? Is this a good idea? But having said that, there was no decision to be had. It was ITV. It had come back round, and you don't turn down opportunities like that. No. And I had no worry in my head that 3-month contract wouldn't turn into something more, and it did. I think there was another 3-month contract, then another 3-month contract, and then I interviewed for a role in the newsroom. Got it. I was in Newquay on a girls' weekend when I got the call on a Friday night. Then I got the job, my dream job at ITV in Bristol, and got very drunk.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was incredible. I loved every second of it. But people are chomping at your heels. You know, that job is something you have to be. You have to want to give it your all. You can't coast. You shouldn't want to coast anyway. But for some people, coasting is absolutely fine, isn't it? But in that job, you know, you have to be giving it all. And by that time, so I started at ITV and I had about 18 months of loving it and giving it my all. And then I got married and then I got pregnant. And all of a sudden my focus for the first time ever shifted to this baby. And I remember going back to work after I'd had her and everything just felt a bit different. Being apart from her, I suddenly realised that as much as I loved my job, right now, my priority and my focus was on this baby. And I was commuting 3 hours a day. So just 3 hours a day in the car before I'd even done my job, which was often, 8-10 hours a day. So
I remember you saying how long you were commuting for. And thinking, bloody hell.
Yeah, I took in 4 motorways.
Yeah.
So it was.
Miles.
Yeah, and which was fine. I used to travel from Gloucester to Exeter to do my job when I was in local radio. So to go from, where were we, in a mixture of Worcestershire and at some points in Herefordshire down to Bristol every day was nothing. Hour and a half. No, at least an hour and a half trip to work, an hour and a half trip back if the traffic was kind. And I didn't think anything of it. It didn't bother me at all. And then I had a tiny baby girl at home who I was just sitting in a car for 3 hours and I thought, this is ridiculous. So an opportunity came up for voluntary redundancy. I took it, at which point I was doing the weather. I'd been given an opportunity about 2 years before to get involved with the weather, which I loved. So I'd shifted to that and I carried on doing the weather on a freelance basis, took voluntary redundancy. The company had already started. We'd already started, it was GDPR.
Yeah.
At the time. Actually, it started Gillian Davis PR.
Yeah.
Because it was just me.
Yeah.
And then
changed to GDPR, and then I remember, obviously.
We had a good run.
Yeah. The government came out with these things where.
Yeah.
So.
We started getting calls. So can you help with our GDPR issues? We were like, right, we either need to pivot here and cash in on this, but we knew nothing about GDPR.
Yeah.
Very boring.
And so the business became Conteur.
And my parents had spent a lot of time in France when I was younger. So I'd spent a lot of time in France, met my husband in France. And so we had really strong connections. Everything we do at Conteur So from started out as a public relations agency, but over the 14 years, reasonably quickly pushed into video production, graphic design and digital.
Yeah.
At times we've dabbled with event stuff as well. Everything's about storytelling. Everything is about telling our client's story.
Yeah.
So the French word for storyteller is conteur. So we are conteur. Everybody says contour. No. Actually, not everybody. That's a lie.
I might or might not have called you contour in the past. But,
Yeah, but you're northern. Everybody northern calls us contour. Contour.
So I know like the idea of storytelling is really important, and you built up this kind of sector around care and health, and there's quite an interesting story with that, isn't there, with David and
Yeah,
sort of
people seem to love this story, and it's so. When we first started, I was still at ITV. Do you want the long story or the short story? I'll try and get. I'm not good at short stories. I'll try and waffle through it.
Just tell the story.
So when
Be a
we
contour.
first started, I was still at ITV. David, my husband and fellow founder director, was working. Actually, he was working for his dad in a narrowboat company at the time, but previously had worked a lot in. His parents had owned a beautiful Georgian care home and worked a lot in home care as well. So they ran a care home and they ran a domiciliary care company. So he'd grown up. I often say, he tells me off because I say, David grew up in a care home. He's like, it makes it sound like I grew up in care. Not that there's anything wrong with growing up in care. But he said his parents owned a care home.
Yeah.
So he has grown up in and around care his whole life. It's embedded in him. Journalism was kind of embedded in me. It's what I'd always worked towards, what I'd always wanted to do, telling people stories. And we basically made the decision one day. I'd left ITV. I'd started Gillian Davis PR. I was doing that on the side. A company David was working for at the time, a domiciliary care company, had this incredible award nomination at National Care Awards. And we were invited, because David worked there, to go up for the awards. I remember sitting right at the back of the room thinking, this is a bad sign. Massive horse. Must have been hundreds upon hundreds of people there at this award ceremony, this national thing. And they won the award. I was really drunk on red wine. And I remember looking at the two directors, who are wonderful people who are doing incredible things. Their company's grown exponentially. We still work with them. I remember looking at them and saying, are you doing anything on this? This is an amazing opportunity. They said no. So there was a digital camera on the table before we had a proper before we had cameras on phones. And I grabbed the digital camera in my red wine drunken haze, ran up to the front of the stage, was taking pictures, came back to the table, and I said, this is incredible. I said, look, I'll write a press release for you if you like, distribute it. And they said, okay, how much? I said, 300 quid. Kind of spat in our hands, shook hands, and that was it. And we've worked with them for the last 15, 16 years. They've grown, we've grown. I have huge respect for everything they're doing. They're making real changes in the care sector. I also found out later that night I was really, really sick. I found out I was very early pregnant with my first daughter, top mum. But we realised that with David's care experience and when we actually started the company, David's care experience and my journalism experience, that let's put those hands together, as Joey would say, and specialise. So right from the off, we've had this niche in health and social care, and we decided to take the leap. We realised that the harder we worked at Gillian Davis PR, the more we were getting out of it. By this point, we had a couple of clients. I was still freelancing ITV. He was still working full time, and we decided to make the leap of I'd still freelance, pick my hours a little bit. We rented out our house. We had a house in Malvern. We rented that out and moved in with my parents. They gave us their dining room as an office. Had one baby, another baby on the way by then. And it seems nuts, when you look back on it and think, why wasn't I more terrified? But it seemed like I was so utterly, the blinkers were on. We knew where we were going. And David gave up his job. we rented our house out. Somebody else paid the mortgage on it, so we didn't have any overheads.
Yeah.
And we just took a leap, which seemed ridiculous and terrifying. But here we are, 15 years later.
It was funny observing it from the outside. I have that kind of mentality where I'm like, if you see an opportunity, just do it. You know, like, why?
I think we're similar like that.
Die, try, wondering, and you guys always seem to do that, and I was like, this is amazing. You guys doing.
You do the same.
Well, only recently.
Better late than never.
Yeah, but it was good that there was both of you that had the same kind of thoughts and ideas and ambitions, and
I think
because if one is and one isn't, then it just doesn't work really.
It works really well. So one of the biggest questions we get asked is can I swear?
Yeah,
I was going to say fuck. I could say hell. How the hell do you work with your husband?
Yeah.
And actually, for us, it just works, and it works really well. But I think part of the reason it works really well is I am the overexcited puppy.
Okay.
This is amazing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Why not? Let's do it. And my brain is really creative. I'm horrendous at a lot of things.
An ideas person.
I'm the ideas person, exactly that. Whereas David is very much the let's do it properly. Let's take a step back and do it properly. If it wasn't for David, we wouldn't have a business because I'd have got bored a long time ago. Yeah. Not bored with the clients and what we're doing, but bored with the same thing. So I've as it stands at the moment, I've got at least 2 other things in my brain that I want to kick off and get going on the side of what we're doing. Time with 3 children, 2 dogs, 2 cats, the house, parents is an issue alongside the business. But that is where I get I've just realised this recently, where I get another puke-inducing thing, joy. I get joy from that creative process, from building things in my head. And I get joy from doing it with clients as well. If they have a vision, I can 9 times out of 10 buy into what they're trying to do and help them turn it into because I work primarily on the video side now, into something that's going to help them and their business to grow and thrive, hopefully.
The video side is something that's really visible with you guys. Yeah, because it always seems to be winning awards for something video related.
We're really proud of our awards, and we have an incredible. The whole Conteur team's incredible. Obviously my focus is the video side. We have somebody incredible who runs the PR side, so I don't need to worry about that at all anymore. I still dip my hand in crisis communications, which I love because it's another real creative flex. But the video team, we have several different skill sets. We're a team of 5 now just on the video side, and everybody brings something different. Everybody brings a different skill. Everybody's a different and we've all got different disc colours. Have you done all the disc profiling and things like that? So we all bring something different to the table, which helps us to hopefully make sure we're always excelling for our clients and giving them the very best.
I've seen your team grow over time, and I'm always amazed at how funny everyone is in the company, and how positive and not funny, haha, not and do you obviously look for a certain kind of person?
We employ people first. Trevor MacDonald, it goes back to him. Genuinely, what we do, whilst it's very skilled, is not rocket science. We've just taken on a wonderful apprentice a few months ago. She's doing absolutely brilliantly, but she came in. We needed her to come in as an editor because that is where we really needed help. She had very, very little editing experience, no editing experience on the software we use. Right. She was great. She had the right attitude. I knew she was going to fit in with the team, and that has to come above everything else. And what is she now? 6 weeks, 2 months in, and she's flying. She's picked up, that thing of we can teach you in 3 months. She's now editing. She's way beyond where I expected her to be. Actually, she's doing a fantastic job because she's got great support from the guys on the team. And she wants to learn, and that's a key thing. She wants to learn. Don't get me wrong, we haven't always got it right. We've had some absolute corkers in the past. But I think the key is, and we're learning this, is to try and get rid of those people as quickly as you can, because when you're a small team, somebody's a really big client of ours, they employ thousands of people, said to us recently, his wife, who used to work in the company, had gone from working in HR for thousands of people to a little business of about our size. And she actually said it's far harder in a smaller business of between like 13 to 15 people, where you have one bad egg in that, and it permeates everything, and can cause problems across everything, which in the past we have discovered, and it's horrendous. It's not a nice place to be. Whereas if you're in a much bigger organisation, it might permeate, micro teams, but it's also easier to get rid of them. You can move them sideways, or it might not be that person is, sometimes you'll just get awful people, but it might be that person just isn't fitted to what they're doing. They need to move sideways and they'll thrive in another area. We don't have that luxury, unfortunately, but it's really interesting. People, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So you have to go, for us, people first.
I'm obsessed with a few things with teams and groups of people, and like, where does loyalty come from and why? And we had the director of the ECB come on, and he's very culture driven, and he says, if you get the culture right, then the culture brings good behaviours, and good behaviours bring the results anyway. So if you concentrate on the culture, everything else should look after itself. It's just identifying and defining what that culture is and how you do it. And I've always kind of liked, when I come down and visit, I like being around the office, and that says a lot, because everyone's quite funny and...
Yeah, and it has to be like that. And like whenever we're employing somebody, I always say, we take the piss out of each other. We don't nothing's taken too seriously. Like I remember one of our guys, he said something to me once. He'd been on the team for about 6 months, and he went, I can't believe I've just said that to my boss. And I'm like, I give it. I can take it. It's fine. It is what it is. Nobody ever really goes at, as long as you're always being kind. It's fine. It's our apprentice the other day, she took the mick out of our director of photography, and everybody cheered. It was like, she's on the team, that's it, it's official, because it's rite of passage. She got to the point where she felt comfortable, and she felt at home enough that she could give him a little jab because he'd said something stupid or funny, or do you know what I mean?
It's important that, though, isn't it, in a creative world where you might have an idea, and if you can take the piss out of someone, you can offer out an idea to them as well. You say there's apparently no such thing as a bad idea, but there is definitely, and we'll take the mick and we'll use that. Hang on a minute, you're back in the trend here, that's horrendous. But they'll laugh. And it's said and it's also kind of it's always said with kindness. It might be crap, but that's okay. It's okay to have a crap idea. In amongst the crap ideas, you have to have the crap ideas to get to the great ideas. And quite often, it might be a terrible idea, but there'll be a nugget within that idea that you then build on, and that the nugget in the rubbish idea becomes the great idea, because then everybody else gets involved. They see the potential in it, and that's another bit that I love. I love that creative process. I love building something from nothing, which is where I think we have to be careful with things like AI going forward, because the human ability to come up with incredible creative ideas. The easiest thing in the world now to say, this is the brief, give us some ideas, and I think that's fine. But you then need to take that idea and build on it with your knowledge of your client and your experience and build it from there. There's a lot. The thing with AI, it brings out the laziness in people sometimes. We're inherently lazy as humans, most of us anyway. And it's that kind of, I can just do it like that now, and it saves loads of time. Whereas,
what's it doing to our brains? Is the brain? I was thinking about this. Is
How
the brain
old do
a
we
muscle?
sound?
I know. Is the brain a muscle? People often say your brain's a muscle, you should use it. I'm not sure it is actually a muscle, but anyway, either way, we know from research that's been done into, dementia and Alzheimer's, do your daily Wordle, do a daily crossword, do, that sort of stuff helps keep your brain sharp. Exactly that. So what I'm worried about is I see my 2 teenage girls in school, in high school, who I know they use AI. They're all using AI. Teachers are using AI, which is fine. But what I'm hearing from various different podcasts is we have to be really, really careful about how it's being policed and how it's being used. So we've worked with an incredible chap in the past who is one of the leading brains. We've done a few of his videos in AI. He works for the government and he's brilliant. He's just wonderful. He's from up around here, actually. And naturally, and one of his big things that he's been lobbying the government about is being so careful about legislating AI and what's okay, what's not okay. At the moment, it seems a bit of a free for all, and that I think is dangerous.
I was actually speaking at a digital event. I was on the panel of something. God knows how it happened. I saw that.
And on LinkedIn.
They were talking about, it was set up by Microsoft were kind of pushing their AI products, which are all really good. And is the guy we were talking, and we were both kind of saying that it's the first time really where a technology's come in from the ground up within businesses. So it's usually the staff that are using it, and then it's brought in over time. Whereas in the past, if say it was email or some other technology where it'd be forced upon you to use from management, and it'd be
that's interesting.
And we were talking about how leadership's really important with AI, and how people are going to use it. So what's the best way of using it for them to do the job, and what's the best way to protect the company and the brand and them and everyone around it. And it should be a top-down thing within the business, take control over it and go, use this, but let's use it in the right way. We thought we were using it better for this.
And which are you using? Should everybody be using the same one? It's a whole thing, isn't it? Like,
who knows?
Our business coach is not banging on. He says wonderful things, and I love him. But when I say about AI, have you got your AI strategy? Have you done it? And we have mostly. We do have guidelines around what to use and how to use it. But we need to be better at it. I'd say we're not playing catch up necessarily, but things seem to be moving all the time. But then in the video space, AI is moving really, really quickly, and there are some incredible tools that you can use, especially in sound. I was literally floored the other day by something one of our guys did with some sound, which normally would have taken a hell of a lot of mixing, a hell of a lot of messing around with, and he just used this piece of AI and it turned it into this incredible thing. You guys probably do it, to enhance the sound for your podcast. It's amazing. You're amazing people who do it. But for video, there's things out there like we've trialed it. There's something called Opus, which is will spit out. For something like this, it's amazing. But if you want a quality finished product, it still needs input from a human to make sure you are giving it what you want it to spit out. So it's not flawless. It has a place, but it's still limited.
It's only as good as the
people behind
commands you give it, usually.
Yeah.
And
or are we old?
It's made me feel more like a dinosaur than anything else.
Well, you are getting on a bit now.
Yeah, well, no comment. So leaving the AI bit, because touching it a little bit, I'm a big believer that social media platforms, which you might create a lot of video for, don't want it all to be AI driven or bots or anything. I want humans to use it because that's where the value is.
Yeah.
this is my theory anyway.
Yeah.
I actually, my conviction that's quite strong. And it's the same online as well, and that's why, I mean, we did a test we created for AI-generated blogs, put them on our site, and it was those 4 that were the only ones that weren't indexed into Google, and so it's obviously identified it and gone,
yeah, that's really interesting.
Gonna put that on our...
Yeah.
No.
Well, we talk about this a lot, obviously, and I'm also of the opinion that, well, I think us as a company, that whilst AI is going to come up and sweep us all up and take us all along with it, it already is. I think there's going to be a backlash at some point, and people are already recognising what's AI and what isn't, and people value people. I don't know if this is because I love anything to do with humans and people, but if it's not, and I bang on about this to clients all the time, especially in our space, especially in health and social care, it has to be authentic. You have an abundance of people and stories and incredible tales that you can tap into. It doesn't need to be, or it shouldn't be, anything other than authentic. So the minute you're introducing AI, I think people are going to start seeing through it really quickly. And I think, it'll be tested, but my gut is it'll come right back around to people.
If you look on LinkedIn and you see, your eyes see a AI generated post that someone's put on.
Yeah. All the emojis, the big dashes.
And there's things but you can kind of see it, and I think it's the same for a lot of people, that there's an unconscious bias against it, where you don't kind of start reading it or go into it in a bit more detail. Whereas and I've had this we've tested it where we've done an AI one and then we've done human one, and the human one has got more engagement. Not necessarily more views, but more engagement within it.
Have you put that on LinkedIn? Have you told people?
Yeah.
I
talk about it quite a lot because, if anyone's listening, be aware of it, because you naturally do. There is a bias against it, I think.
Yeah.
And so if the human eye can identify it, it's the same on a social media post,
human eye can,
a blog post,
to
a video, and then it all just becomes this noise that no one looks at.
So what's the value then? What should people be doing? Should they be writing a blog from scratch, or is it a case of that you go in and you use AI to help you, but then you go in and tweak? What's the balance? Is there a balance, or should it just be the old way?
There's a balance, yeah. I mean, my copywriter doesn't use AI. He says, I can't take something and adapt it to be mine. I have to start from scratch. Yeah. And that's quite good. We found that that's working well for our clients at the moment. Yeah. And he's a fast writer. But he says that it's known as, the term is a flash writer. So flashy.
Yeah. Interesting.
But you can look at topics, look at headings, look at questions that might be asked, but make sure that you're using that as a reference.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think.
Yeah.
But it depends on the commands you do and how much time you want to put into that. But if you're creating something that's unique and individual, it's more likely to rank higher.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And you've clearly found out that it's the case.
At the moment, yeah. Who knows what tomorrow will bring. Yeah. So it's not about me, this is about you. Do you have what advice do you give people these days when they want to get into journalism? Let's go into these.
Into journalism, I use Trevor. My mate Trev, who I've not met before or since, but I talk about him a lot because it was such a big pivotal moment in my life, and his advice still stands. So that always try and bring something new, bring something that's going to benefit the employer, or in journalism, in the case of journalism, nearly anything else other than journalism.
Yeah.
But also that thing of, I tell my kids this, it doesn't matter if you don't know what you want to do. That's okay. They're only young teenagers. That's absolutely fine. But pick something, pick anything, especially as you get older, have something that you're driving towards, that you're pushing towards. So you're not flailing around, you're not, and also it doesn't matter if you change your mind as you go. You know, if you decide that you want to be a lawyer, point in that direction, but then maybe you think, actually, no, that's not for me. I want to be a marine biologist. Pivot again. There's nothing to stop you pivoting, and and I mean, they're pretty far apart, aren't they? A marine biologist and a lawyer, but you can use what you learn when you were doing law there will always be things that you can use from there in marine biology. It's all experience, but just point towards something. I think that's really, really important. Pick anything, even if you're not 100% sure that's what it is, just pick it and go towards it. A lot of people I knew at school and at uni who were all wonderful and doing amazing things, and they've told me this, because they didn't know what they wanted to do, they ended up falling into roles, falling into jobs that weren't their passion really, and life kind of took them on the journey rather than them taking the bull by the horns. And I mean, I've pivoted a few times between, from journalism to running the business, but even within the business. So, like I say, I'm very much, I head up the video side and crisis comms. There's a couple of us on the team that do that, and that's very much where my interest lies at the moment. Whereas, I still have a big interest in PR. I've got somebody amazing doing that, which allows me to do what I'm absolutely fascinated in. And pinpointing. We've got lots of, there's still a long way to go with that.
So bring something new and do something. Point somewhere and go for it.
Somewhere. And it doesn't just have to be for work. If your personal life's a bit dull, pick something.
Well, it's so funny because my 20s I call the wilderness years. It's like my time.
Oh, really?
Because I spent time going from recruitment to advertising, sales, to working in a petrol station, to going back into IT, and
all with a degree.
And and just going around that. And then I ended up, the last proper job I had before starting the business, I was using all those skills that I brought up, even working in a petrol station, because it was a company that made fuel pricing software. And I had that experience on the front line at a very low level of, well, what's fuel pricing? What brings people into a shop? And why? And I could talk about that in the interview, and it's part of why I got the job, amongst other things. But being able to talk to people with sales, being able to
experience,
direct the conversation. I always say, if you're going to be in politics, it's good to have done something else first and done it well, rather than just being a career politician. I think it works in religion as well.
Probably.
Best vicars and priests have probably been something else first. Well, let's not go into that. They do. I think it gives you a bit of life experience, and you can bring those skills from there into whatever you do.
When I was at school, when I was 15, 16, I got a job at Safeway, which is now Morrison's, on the tills, working on the till. And the customer service, I was told I had the skills to work on the customer service desk, which was amazing. And because you're constantly bombarded with good, bad, and just everyday comments, the skills that it gives you to handle people and to be working with people was, it was an incredible training ground. And now, obviously, we're in and out of, sometimes hundreds of care homes every year, filming and dealing with loads of different people, from the staff to the wonderful residents. Some of the stories that you get out of residents, some of the stories, I could tell you a really good one that happened to us just recently, actually. But they all, all those skills are kind of, if I look back, probably it would take me right back to when I got my job in Safeway and was dealing with customers every single day. And the confidence to do it and speak to people is potentially, you could argue, is that, part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
And so, as a director owner of a agency has been going for many, many years, award-winning agency. What's the kind of key to having such a thriving agency?
That's an excellent question. Something I don't have, which David is very good at, consistent. We need to get better at consistency. Consistency and belief.
Yeah.
That initially, that blind belief. I mean, who the hell does that? Who the hell puts their house up for rent when they've got a toddler and a baby on the way and moves in with their parents? I don't remember having a single fear around it, a single doubt.
Yeah.
And your people, trust in your people. They do amazing work for you. And what else? Turning up. Day after day, just keep turning up, being there.
Yeah. Consistency is important, isn't it?
Yeah, and for me, it's all about the C's, isn't it? Consistency, customer service.
Yeah.
Now, I have had many a discussion with people over my fierce protection of our customer service in our business. The customer, believe it or not, isn't always right. They will try and get as much out of you as they possibly can, which is their right, absolutely. The bulk of our clients over time have been incredible, especially in the health and social care space. You meet incredible people who are, I get clients messaging me, they're paying us for video and editing hours saying, really, really sorry, would you mind doing this? You don't have to apologise, you're paying us to do this job for you. Wonderful, wonderful people who really value what we do. But having that customer service element is absolutely key. And I think that's what keeps them. Some of our clients, like I say, one of our oldest is, knocking on for 15, 16 years old now. A lot of them are, been with us 8, 9 years. And obviously we've got much newer clients as well. But they stick with us because we look after them and we believe in them. We trust in what they do. And you'll find as well that if over time you develop those relationships with people, when they leave companies, they'll take the amount of times that, we still work with companies. I think there's one guy actually at the moment who we worked with him originally. He left that client. We're still working with them. He moved, took us with him. We work with them as well. Moved again, and we work with them too. So,
Hat-trick.
yeah, and he's been fantastic. All because we have a great relationship, and because customer service is always key. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes I talk about it as in bending. You have to be bendable, and because we're a small company, we can do that. And it's it's my prerogative at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I can do what I want, and if it means it's going to benefit my client, if it means sometimes if it means that to the detriment of us for a small period of time, i.e. I am giving a couple of edit days because I think actually that video will be much better. I know they don't have the budget to go over, but for the sake of a day or two extra in the edit, that video is going to be sensational. We'll do it. And they know we do that, and they appreciate it, and that means that they take us with us, and it doesn't happen all the time, but when the opportunity comes up, if we can do it, and it benefits us. Some of our award winners have happened like that. I've seen that actually there's real potential here. So no such thing as a selfless good deed. So yes, I'm doing it because I genuinely want to help you, and I genuinely think this could look better, but actually it's going to benefit us as well. There's no benefit in us in putting out work that
It's a bigger picture, isn't it?
100%, and you have to have that bigger picture, and you have to trust in the bigger picture.
I've thought about consistency a lot recently. And if you think about all the people in your life that have been there for you and you trust and you would do anything for, they've usually always been consistently there and the same kind of person. I think it's the same if you work for a company as well, because your reasons for doing it are very different to the boss.
Yeah.
But if the people that are in leadership are consistent and they support and they have the energy and drive that keep going and keep turning up every day. No one's perfect, obviously.
No.
But if you can try and do that as much as you can.
And it's people say
that. Like that, don't they?
I think so, and I mean this is a really old cliche, isn't it? And you'll know this, but running a business is a roller coaster, and you can't have a great day every day.
No.
But that just turning up. Even if you're not consistently, even if you're having a shit week, even if you're having a shit month, business is shit. We've come to the brink twice, and you pull out the big guns and you fight hard for it, but it's a horrendous time.
Yeah.
But you will find that if you can come through it, much to my husband's dismay, I likened it to a marriage, running a business. You will have really hard times. If you can push through those hard times, show up, put the work in, and if you come out the other side of those hard times, you will be stronger as a result. I firmly believe we've learned more in the hard times of our business than any good times. And, the good times are great, aren't they? You're rolling along. But it's the hard times. Whilst they're shit while you're in it, you come out the other side, if you've put the work in, look back and realise how much you've learned, and you take it forward, and it makes your business stronger. I genuinely believe that. It has for us anyway.
That thing of being all in, that the psychology of being all in on something, where you're in trouble and you've got bills to pay and you need to do something.
Got people to pay. People have got mortgages to pay.
And you go and you do it and you survive and you're like, and then it gets good for a bit and then you forget those things that you did when it was all in, all or nothing.
Yeah.
And you should just keep doing it, It's
No, we were talking about this with our wonderful business coach recently. We were saying, why can't we be like that all the time?
Yeah.
If we were like that, maybe that's what Steve Jobs was like. People like that. Maybe that's what Elon Musk's like.
Like a psychopath, only that's the problem.
Well, probably. But if you can do that all the time, then imagine where we would be. We'd be this kind of probably the best agency in the world, but you ride the good times, which feels naughty.
You've got to enjoy life sometimes, haven't you?
Sometimes. Is that allowed? But it's a roller coaster.
So what does the future hold?
What does the future hold? So certainly, hopefully, more growth. Certainly on the video side, we've got lots of plans. We've got lots of we've grown. Like I say, to just the video side now, we're a team of 5, and the plan is to keep focusing where we're really, really solid. We know the health and social care. Do you want to hear my amazing story from we were filming in a care home recently?
Yeah, do. Yeah.
It's a quick one.
Okay.
But these are the sort of stories you get, and this is what I mean about human and why I love humans. And why I love chatting to people. One of our younger guys was on a shoot in a care home, and one of the ladies, she was about, I think, 86, 87, took a bit of a shine to me, was there for the day, and made a few comments over the course of his time filming with her and around and about, and kept staring at him, and he was leaving, and he went over to say goodbye, and she looked at him and she said, right in the eye, I'm going to have a wet dream about you tonight. And it's stories like that where else do you get stories like that? It's wonderful. And the people you meet, we've met people who've been in the war, we've met people who've run incredible businesses, we've met people who've worked for the royal family, and they've all got incredible stories to tell. So so more for us, more of that, more of bringing those stories out, and it's good times, good fun.
Yes.
I knew you'd like that one. I wouldn't tell anybody that story.
Well, it's all everyone knows. Okay, well, yeah.
Follow that.
I've completely lost my train of thought. So more growth, more plans on the video production side.
Yeah, definitely. And I know on the same for the the other half of the company, they've got big plans on the PR side and on the digital side. So lots going on. Got a wonderful graphic designer that we've worked with for years and years and years and years, and he's consistently, giving incredible work. So it's just about, I suppose, doing what we're doing, but elevating, fighting as well. Like agencies, it's tough out there for agencies at the moment. It's really tough. So you've got to be standing up. You've got to be standing out.
When costs go up, it's usually marketing that takes a bit of a hit.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again. The amount of times that we've had calls over the years from marketing managers, marketing directors in tears to say, I'm really sorry, we love working with you, this isn't a reflection of your work, but the budget's been cut, and this is where it's got to go. If and when it's reinstated, you'll be the first person I'll pick the phone up to. And that's happened. People are loyal, they're amazing, but budgets get cut, and that's it. People move on, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You just got to ride with it. You know it's going to happen. You know it's potential.
Yeah.
And it may be nothing that you do, but that you've got to have a thick skin, which I've struggled with over the years.
Yeah.
Really tough.
It's tough as a business owner sometimes when you're having to talk to people who, and you feel like perhaps they're a client that'll stay for years and years. You've done some great work. Why wouldn't they? And then suddenly budgets get cut, and you realise it's not it's not a friendship game. It's a business game.
Yeah, this is it. And it doesn't matter. A quote I really like, Gordon Ramsay says, "Take it professionally, don't take it personally." And that's really important to remember, I think, when you own and run a business. It's also important to remember when you're in a business and you work for a company. Not everything has to be personal, especially in this day and age. I think there's quite a bit of entitlement going on. People think it's about them as a person. When actually sometimes tough business decisions need to be made. It's no reflection. And it's the same for our clients. You know, it's not a... if you take everything really personally, you're going to struggle. You're going to really struggle. That's been a lesson I've had to learn. Because I'm a people person. I like people. I connect with people. And whilst I know it's not them, I know it's not a reflection on me. They tell us it's not a reflection on you. It's not a reflection on the work. It's a reflection of our budget's just been cut by 200,000. And, you know, you need to go, along with a few other things. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I think it's an underrated skill in running a business, is the idea of giving feedback to people and giving it in a loving way where, you know, and it's a hard thing to do, where you're trying to get some growth from it, something positive, but you're having to give some realities at the same time and letting them know that that's, you know, to move on and to grow and to get better at what we do, we have to understand where we're failing a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think, you know, people are really quick to jump to being offended as well these days, and actually it's not about you. Sometimes it's just the way of the world, and it is what it is, and you know, is that quite a selfish way of looking at it? Sometimes you just got to suck it up, buttercup, get on with it, pick yourself up, get on. One of my favourite things, what is it, is nobody cares, work harder. Sounds really, really harsh, but actually it's absolutely true. If you want to achieve something, nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else gives a shit. You've got to work harder. You've got to put the work in. And I've said it a few times around, you know, younger groups of people. They literally look at me like, oh, that's awful. And it's not that people don't care about you and want the very best for you. It's that ultimately, if you want something, you've got to get it. You can't wait for somebody else to give it to you. Nobody cares. Go and work harder and get what you want. Get what you want, whether that's losing weight, whether that's going to the gym to buff yourself up, whether that's getting a better job. You're not going to get a better job by just, you know, doing what everybody else is doing. You've got to work harder than Trevor MacDonald. Go away and give us something that nobody else is doing. I had to work harder. I had to think outside the box. Everybody has to do it. If you want to raise your head above and be better, you've got to do it. Work harder. Nobody cares.
Writing letters off to production companies.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly that. Yeah, in the days before email. They were typed.
Well,
I remember sitting at the printer and changing the names at the top.
But it's that thing, you can't let it, it won't come to you. Go out and get it.
If you want it, and maybe you don't want it enough, and that's fine too. That's absolutely fine too. You know, there is absolutely nothing wrong at all with that 9-to-5 lifestyle of going home, spending time with your kids. Amazing. The world is made up of all of these different people, and if that's where your values sit and that's what's important to you, that's exactly what you should be doing. But if you want more, I'm annoying in that I want a bit of both. I want that family time. But then I was, you know, up working till 9:30 last night on our plan for how to drive the business forward. It's, you've got to strike that balance, haven't you?
I mean, you weren't preparing for this conversation.
And I was doing that. I actually did that yesterday lunchtime. Check me out. Which is very unlike me. I am a last minute. But I do hit a deadline, maybe the journalist in me. But yeah, I'm a deadline fiend. Hate missing a deadline.
Yeah. Amazing. We could talk all day.
Shall we? This is quite good fun. Is your chap here all day? You need me to stay all day?
What time are we on?
I've got all the time in the world.
Yeah. I think it's possibly a good place to start.
That's sad.
But thanks so much for making the journey.
Oh, don't be
coming
silly.
up.
Anything for
Lovely
you.
to see.
Like you were saying about people in your lives coming and going and consistency. You've always been a consistent one for me. And I know we may not always chat or see each other, and it's like that with a lot of friends. My best friend in South Africa, for example, I haven't seen her for... Actually, I saw her last year because she came over to England on a school trip. But just because you don't see somebody, I know if I ever had a real problem and I turned up on your doorstep, you'd be there. And I hope you know the same of me. And you get those people, don't you, throughout your life, and that's important.
Well, university, it's different these days with the cost of it, even though it wasn't especially cheap when we were there. Didn't take much from
The
it
triple vodkas
academically.
were. Do you remember the triple vodka for 99p?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on,
Yes.
you're saying something
Paint
serious.
stripper with Coke in it, wasn't it? Yeah, academically, I probably didn't take as much from it as I should, but I took away a lot of friends and people that I still see now and do things with.
That's a good line, isn't it? That's quite corny, but I like it.
I've got business from it. I've got jobs from it. I've got wonderful holidays and memories and stuff like that. And that was probably where the value was, really.
Yeah, I was just telling my daughter's on work experience this week at an architecture firm, and I was telling her about we had a client a few years ago come out of the woodwork who I had worked with years ago.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, sounds awful, I didn't really think of them very much anymore. But one day, in fact, it was in one of our holes, so how the universe works in a weird way. And picked up the phone and said, I've got this client or this chap I work with who needs an agency in your area. Don't suppose you give them a call. And they essentially, rescued the business. It's amazing where people come from.
Yeah.
It's also amazing, that belief, talking about the universe. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe. I genuinely believe. Sounds a bit mumbo jumbo. I'm not sure I believe in the whole universe thing, but you've got to believe in what you do.
Yeah.
And if you believe in it and you go after it, good things will happen.
Yeah.
You make your luck.
Great place to stop.
There you go.
There we go.